Holistic connection. Let's heal. Holistic connection. Let's learn. Holistic connection. Let's grow. Holistic connection. Let's be real.
Hello everyone, welcome to Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. And this is your host, PamelaTopjian, doing a solo episode, a bonus episode for you, because I really wanted to take a moment and share my why and how I started this podcast, the challenges and mistakes, some surprises along the way. And even though it's just been over a year, I really wanted to share some things with you. So as many of you know, I am a former nurse who left the profession after 14 years, and I went a more holistic route. I spent 5 years trying to get a holistic business off the ground. I took several courses, classes, I gained certifications and other education, and had a business coach even in my quest to learn the ins and outs of entrepreneurship and to add to my skills of what I could offer. However, I found that trying to market a modality that was already stigmatized and had many misconceptions was really burning me out. And I've already been in a burnout mode earlier in my life. I actually had a mental breakdown. On my YouTube channel, I do have a video from breakdown to breakthrough, all about that story. And I will put that link in the show notes below if you're interested in hearing about my life story from breakdown to breakthrough. So I decided instead to protect my mental health and my own inner peace and give other holistic practitioners an opportunity to share what they do and explain what it is all about and to dispel the misconceptions by inviting them on my YouTube channel as guests for a feature in its own playlist called Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners, where I was already doing some other solo videos of guided visualizations and some self-help information, as well as some vlogging type of videos there. So once I started taking guests, people started referring to it as a podcast. And in case you don't already know, there's some discrepancy in the podcast world as to whether videos are even true podcasts. So I decided to look into how I could get these holistic practitioners, get their information, and get these recordings up on the podcast platforms. And my thought was really just that it would be beneficial to also give my guests, these holistic practitioners, a wider potential audience. One of my biggest mistakes when I started out was just posting the raw recording. I had no idea how to edit, and I just jumped in without any thought of how to actually do a good job at it. I do know other podcasters who just do live shows, and it just is what it is at the end. And that's probably part of the charm of it and probably why people tune into it. Some people really like that. But I also know other podcasters who took classes in podcasting or broadcasting or recording or, anything that has to do with anything similar to podcasting. They've taken classes, they've taken courses, they plan on growing their podcast hugely, they plan on monetizing. All of this stuff. It's not a passion project. It's a full-time goal of theirs to be widely known. But this podcast, my podcast that you're listening to right now, has improved since its start in September 2024 to where I'm now getting better at editing, and I now have a self-booking calendar for guests to find a time and date that works for them within my availability. And that was huge. That really helped. I tried for many months to set up Calendly, and I tried that forever, and I just kept getting so frustrated. I'm not so tech savvy, and computer use is just not all that easy for me. I like to blame it on my age because I never did grow up with computers. I only had computers in my life since probably my mid-30s. But that's not really true because there are people who are older than me, people my age, who are very computers and tech savvy. So it's not the age, it's just never been a passion of mine or something I cared to look into more than what I needed for the task at hand. So I did take some online classes. I had to learn how to do that. You know, I do Zoom pretty well. I did have clients over Zoom. So anyway, so I found in my search, in my quest for another platform to set up for people to book themselves, I found TidyCal, which is amazing. But another mistake I made, I set the dates that I'm available for 90 days out and made sure that the times and dates were accurate. And I double checked, made sure they were accurate the days I was available. And then I had an appointment come up and I didn't take that day off my TidyCal. So a guest scheduled for that day and I didn't realize it. I had to ask the guest to reschedule. And I just hate feeling so unprofessional and just flaky. It doesn't make a good first impression, and it doesn't make a good start for the episode we're going to have together. But before I had the self-booking platform set up, I would lose guests through the continuous back and forth of trying to set up dates and times, or when I would post in the groups looking for guests, I sometimes became overwhelmed with how many responses I had. So it took a long time to get back sometimes, and especially if I got busy, and especially if I was in the back and forth with quite a few people trying to figure out times and dates, which again looks very unprofessional and flaky. So I really have to just remember to check and edit my TidyCal calendar regularly. So that's a mistake I made that hopefully you can learn from if you have your own podcast or you're thinking about having one. However, on a positive note, I was able to successfully create an intro and add it to the beginning of the episodes, which I'm really loving. I know that I'm getting better at hosting, and I also know that I have a ways to go before I feel like I'm truly doing a good job and doing good by my guests, doing the best job to highlight them. I now kind of feel bad for my earlier guests. However, I'm always honest with people and let them know that it's a newer podcast. So at this point, the reach may not be as far, and basically, I'm no professional. Just helping to spread the word about holistic health to help people make informed decisions. That's really what it's all about. And I think I'm doing that. And I'm happy about that. I'm loving the connections that I'm making. I'm loving that my guests get to share in their own words about what they do, who they are, and help to dispel some of those misconceptions. So my goal is just to continue to spread that word about different holistic methods and to have a wide range of different types of holistic practitioners on, and to get better at hosting and interviewing and even marketing. So if you're here, you've probably listened to a few episodes. So thank you so much. And I do try to keep them more conversational style than an interview style, and that's something I'm still working on. You can help my guests be heard by more people by sharing out the episodes. If you listen to one and you really think it was good information or you find it really interesting, share it out. You can leave reviews on the podcast platforms and subscribe on YouTube. This really helps by letting the platforms know that people are listening and they like the content. So that will help the platforms to show the podcast in more feeds of those who are not currently listening. So just improving in every way is my goal right now. This bonus episode is going on YouTube as well as the podcast platforms. And in case you don't know, so if you're watching on YouTube, this is my channel. Look in the playlist for the podcast, Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. And it's also on most podcast platforms. And if you have anything that you would like to share or offer in the way of advice or constructive criticism, I welcome your feedback. So thank you once again for being here. I really do appreciate you all for listening and for going on this journey with me and with my guests. we very much appreciate you all. And if you are a holistic practitioner and you would like to be a guest, check out my link. I'll put in the show notes and in the description for my Linktree, which will have, all my links that I have, but it also has the TidyCal link in there. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode. We have a new episode every Sunday on Holistic Connections, conversations with holistic practitioners. And on the YouTube channel, midweek, almost every Wednesday, I put up a solo video, usually something about mental health, something about holistic health. Sometimes it's going to be a vlog type video, but yeah, those are just on the YouTube channel. They're not part of the podcast. If you're interested, check it out. I really appreciate you all. Thank you.